Hello, everyone. I'd like to share in this video today a topic about paradigms. What are paradigms? How do they affect us? But the truth is that they are the invisible program that are running your life, they're running my life. And really, what I wanted today is to talk about the awareness, how we can break free from the paradigm trap. So, I'm going to be referring to some of the notes that I've written down here. And I just want to share some of the things that I have learned from my mentor over the last couple of months, over the last year or two. And hopefully, the things that I've learned, I might be able to pass on to you and that you will learn from those as well. I suppose, as the great Bob Proctor once stated, that a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behaviors. And all our behaviors are habitual. So paradigms are made of beliefs, emotions, patterns, and behaviors, and they're mostly unconscious. And it's really hard to believe that there's a program that is controlling each and every one of us today, and yet we haven't been aware of it. Now, when you do become aware of it, naturally you can make those changes that you want to bring around in your life. But for the majority of people that are out there, the paradigm is really controlling every single thing that they're doing. And you might ask, like, where do we get these paradigms from? Well, we've inherited them maybe from culture, from our religion, from our schooling background, from life's experiences, passed down from our parents as well. And the paradigm can affect like our income, it can affect our relationships, it can affect our health, our productivity, our decision making, our self-worth. Each and every one of those things can be controlled by the paradigm. And the reality of it is that can be virtually controlling every single thing that we do. It's very much like that thermostat that we set on the wall. We might set it at 25 degrees Celsius, and yet the paradigm has that ability to bring it back down to where you're quite comfortable again, without you even knowing that it's doing it to you. And the reality of it is that nothing magical can ever happen to you if you're residing in the comfort zone. Let me just share some of my story for the next few moments. There's a lot of things that I didn't understand when I was starting out this program. I was told that you could be talented, you could be smart, you could be hardworking, and you can still feel stuck. And the truth is that was really me. For years I was showing up, I was doing all the right things. I was, getting up early in the morning, setting goals, putting in the hours, staying positive, doing the study. But my results weren't matching the efforts. For me, the result that I really wanted was to see my bank balance increase, because it was a really important one to me. It was that bank balance increasing was bringing me on the road toward the financial freedom that I wanted in my life, that I truly desired. But it was also showing me that when I would see the bank balance in positive rather than negative, it was showing me that I was making the right moves. I was moving forward in the right direction. But my results really weren't matching my effort, and truthfully, it was driving me crazy. The big change came around for me when I was watching YouTube, I should say, one day, and I'd seen a video of Bob Proctor talk about paradigms, and I thought, oh my God, this is like a light bulb moment going off in my head. But at the very start, I had a small business at the time. I wanted to get the business to about €10,000 per month. And I noticed that there was a lot of distractions started getting my way. There was the social media distractions. There was friends calling distractions. There was whatever it may be. But like I was off also underpricing the offer that I particularly had, and that would be the particular product or the service that I was offering. But I didn't really realize the time that I was actually running a paradigm that was saying to me, Brian, who the hell do you think you are trying to break free from this conditioning that you have? Big business is not for you, it's for other people. Staying small is safe. And it really, really fried my head. And when I received the mentorship from one of Bob's team, then I realized that I could make that change. And for a paradigm shift to occur, you truly really need to know the results that you want to have in your life. You need to be clear and concise in the goals that you're going to have. But the lesson here is that we want to change the paradigm. We want to create the results. And we want to create the results in the world that you truly want for yourself. So to truly change your results, you must not let the limiting paradigms of your outer world influence or alter the beliefs which are your inner world. And really what I mean by that is that all the changes that we make are internally. Because when we change things internally, the reflection becomes external. But a lot of time we do it in the reverse. We do things externally, hoping that they will change internally, and that will never happen. And the things that we do internally are often done in the quiet, dark hours. They're often done in the early morning or in the late nights. They're the small, subtle changes that we make, that we bring about. That could be discipline. So I just knocked this alarm off. It could be discipline. It could be something else that we have to bring about a change. It could be picking up a particular set of habits. But paradigms, they're neither good nor bad. But what they are is they're either positive or they're negative. So we can often say that they are what they are, but they are either positive or negative paradigms. And as you get a greater understanding of this, it will become obvious of the changes that you need to bring around in your life. Just looking through my notes here, there's another part of all of this that is really, really important. When you start to realize about having greater awareness, having an understanding of what the paradigm is like, but we also have to have a change about an attitude. And it's required. It's a topic that I will speak about in at a later detail. But right now, there's another area within the paradigm that I think is very, very important that I discuss, and it's called responsibility. It's like responsibility, in my opinion, is the starting point to all the change that you want to bring in your life. So in the Thinking into Results program, one of the foundational principles that underpins transformation, it is responsibility. And it's a word that we can often associate with blame or with burden, but the context is either personal or professional growth. The responsibility is neither one of those things. Responsibility, it's the liberation. It's given us the power. It's given us the keys to unlock what we truly want in our life and what we want to create in our life, what we truly desire in our life. It's given us the keys to freedom. Responsibility does. So really, what is responsibility? I suppose responsibility is the conscious choice to accept that you are the cause of your results, whether they're good results or whether they're bad results. It's not the fault of your boss or your company or your spouse, but it's the act of reclaiming your agency to bring about the freedom that you truly want. It's not about fault. It's not about blame. It's truly about taking ownership. And that's what had happened for me. It was about taking ownership. Truthfully, I was blaming the world around me. Any of the circumstances, it was somebody else's fault. But when I stopped, accepted that my attitude had to change, accept that I needed to be responsible for every action and every decision that I made, then the changes came around. I've written down a few lines that Bob Proctor once said, and he stated that you cannot change what you will not take responsibility for. I think it's a really powerful line. He stated again, you cannot change what you will not take responsibility for. So that means as long as you believe your circumstances are the result of something outside you, you're going to keep blaming the external world. So don't blame the external world. Start to look at yourself. Start to look at yourself inwardly to bring about those changes. So there's responsibility also, and you can have responsibility versus blame. So they're not the same thing. Blame looks backwards and says, who did this to me? But responsibility looks forward and says, now, what am I going to do about these things? When you take responsibility to free yourself from the trap of victimhood, you stop waiting for the circumstances to change, and instead you become the person who changes them. It's important that you become the person who changes them, because the responsibility is crucial into you thinking into the results that you want in your life. Because, again, as I stated, the transformation has to come from the inside out. It starts with an awareness and it ends in the results that you want. But between those two, there's going to be a consistent thorough line, really. It's decision and responsibility. So without responsibility, you won't believe that you can change. Without responsibility, you'll wait for others to make the first move. Without responsibility, you'll continue to blame others for your current conditions. But when you take responsibility, you'll activate the power within you to choose new thoughts. To take responsibility, you'll take aligned action even with uncertainty. And to take responsibility, you'll shift from reacting to creating. Responsibility truly is the bridge between knowing and doing. I suppose you could look at it as that knowing-doing gap, couldn't you? Taking responsibility in practice, it's important because this is really what's going to play out on the particular journey to the results that you want in your life. But we have to look at other areas of responsibility. There's responsibility in our thoughts. What do you think about when it comes to money? What do you think about when it comes to work, success, relationships? Do your habitual thoughts support the results that you want in your life? If not, it's time to change that mental program. That's your responsibility today, to change your mental program. I had to do the exact same, change my mental program to bring about the change that I wanted to bring around. You're responsible for your emotions. Like, you might not choose your initial emotions or reactions, but you choose what you continue to dwell on. Emotional responsibility is learning how you can change your state through gratitude, through visualization, through movement, so that you stay in harmony with the life that you're truly building. And it's worth putting the effort into all these things, because you will build the life that you truly want to build. But there's also responsibility for your actions. Results are the product of behavior. You cannot think your way to success, without also acting that way too. Are you doing what you said you would do? Are you acting in line with the goal, or are you staying in line with the paradigm? The only way to change that behavior is to take full responsibility for your current one. Are you taking responsibility for your environment? You may not control every single thing around you, but you can take responsibility for what you listen to. You can take responsibility for what you watch. You can take responsibility for, who you associate with. Because a lot of the time it's people, it's the media, it's the Facebook, it's the Netflix, it's the conversations that we have that cause the clutter, it causes distraction, it causes the mental drainage. So choose an environment, that truly reflects the results that you want, not the ones that you're trying to leave behind. And shifting that paradigm from the external to the internal is absolutely really, really important. I suppose if I had more time, I would exercise. Isn't that a good example? If I had more time, I could exercise more. If I had more time, I could get a better job. I could be happier. Oh, if the economy changed, I could grow my business. Let's just get rid of all that mentality. But in that thinking into results program, we're trying to flip it on its head, and we're saying to ourselves, the inside actually controls the outside. What I've explained a few minutes ago. Responsibility is that gear shift that moves you from the external to the internal control. It's telling the universe, to be honest, that I'm ready to lead my life and not just react to it. Is there a responsibility there to challenge you? Take a few minutes right now and just answer these 3 simple questions. What area of my life am I not getting the results that I want? Question number 2, who or what am I blaming for that? And question number 3, if I took 100% responsibility for changing it, what's the first step that I would take today? It's important that, just take a few minutes, write out those answers to bring that change around. My final thought today is that responsibility is not heavy. It's freedom in disguise. The moment you accept full responsibility for something in your life, something amazing happens. Excuses disappear, power returns, and the momentum begins in your life. Look, if we could just remember this for one moment, you are not a victim of your circumstance. You are a creator of results, but only if you choose to be. I hope this has given someone some hope today, some understanding of how paradigms and how responsibility can make massive, massive changes in our lives. If it can help you any further, please leave a comment in the comment section below. And for between now and the next time that I meet you, I hope you have a great day. God bless. Thanks again.